Hello stitching friends, my name is Melissa and this is Evening Star Stitches. This channel is mostly about cross stitch and taking time to be creative. My last video was a WIP parade and I thought I would come and have a little chat today about my stitching progress through January and February because it is, let's see, March 5th and I've actually had quite a bit of stitching and it feels really great to have had quite a few days with a needle and thread in my hand. So I said I'd get back to you with plans. So I can tell you that my #1 plan for this year is to just have more stitching days. And I don't like to get too much into counting like hours or stitches. I do a lot of work with data and have to track my time and a lot of that during my work hours, and so I try to do as little of that as possible when I'm just trying to relax and have some fun. So I actually have some finishes. Some of them were from last year, maybe all of them. Yeah, I think all of them. And some new starts, some WIPs, and actually quite a bit of haul because last fall and winter, I did make some visits to some needle workshops and Jingle Ball happened, and so I have a little to show you. I got off of work and came in and gave the things in my crock pot a little stir and thought I would at least get started. And if I have to finish up tomorrow with a part 2, that'll be great. So I just have had quite a little stack here for a little bit. So the first finish that I want to show you is daisy seeds. And it's a stitching with the housewives pattern. And daisies are something that's kind of special between my mom and I. When I was little, we used to have a field of daisies in the back. They probably weren't daisies. They were probably just a wild flower, but I loved picking them. And I see them quite a bit when we drive up into Colorado. So this is my little finish here. And I really love the red and yellow together. It was just a really cheery stitch. So got that one. And then, let's see, my table is full, so I'm gonna figure out where I'm gonna sit things. Let's see, I'll put that there maybe for now, and then, gosh, I'll set this here for now. Okay, the other little finish, very small finishes, was a stitch card set D by Lori Holt. So I'll show you the 4 stitch cards. So this is the first one. Well, I don't know if it's first, but this is one of them. And this is Bright Zinnia cross stitch. And all of these come in a set. This one is Honeybee cross stitch. This one is Busy Beehive. And this one is Tending the Garden. And if you follow the Sable Stitchers, you know Lenny has worked on quite a few of these. And she has a little saying for them, but something along the lines of a little bit of happy. And they're just so satisfying. And you get such a sense of, you know, accomplishment. And they're just, I don't know, they're pretty joyful. So here's the 4 of those all together. And I stitched them on 14 count Aida, just on a white. And I just really enjoyed stitching them, so I think I'll do more of these stitch cards. And I'm not quite sure what I will do with them. I have a couple of things that I could put them on individually. I thought about like on the front of something, front and back of something like this. I keep my like scissors and rotary cutter, extra blades, lotion, that kind of thing, just here on my cutting table. And so I thought, oh, it'd be fun to, you know, just kind of decorate it, maybe paint it. So we'll see. But I really enjoyed that. Oh, and I guess I should tell you, probably know this, but I stitched daisy seeds on a 14 count chalkboard black. So let's see. The next thing was some starts. So on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, I kind of did my own version of a 12 by 12. And in that, I worked mostly on WIPs, but I did have a few starts. Let's see. I think I did 3 starts. So the first one, I have in this little cute little bag my mom made for me. It's kind of straight line quilted. I don't know if you can see that detail. Just put a little ribbon on it, and anyway, pretty fun. But it's a perfect size for a little pattern like this. So this is Fresh Lemonade. And when I was looking at my WIPs and WIPGO and all my plans for the year, I really love to stitch seasonal things. And I thought, okay, I want to have something started for most of the months, so that, to me, like, I love starting new things, but it's also a little bit of work. I know I usually need to have like a little bit of, usually on the weekend, some mental space, and be rested when I start something new. And so I went ahead and started something. So that's something for the summer, and this is where I'm at. I think maybe I stitched maybe 2 or 3 different times on this. So it's coming along, and I'm kind of saving it actually more for summer stitching. And the same thing with this one. So I have this one in this cute little bag my mom made me. My mom sent me some great bags and things for my birthday in November. And it's got a really sweet inside. And anyway, I can't remember. It might be a poppy cotton fabric. I'm not sure, but in this one I have Firework Kisses. And I got this one. Oh, my cat's visiting. Hey, Mittens. It's not pulling the rug. I've been away all day, and so she's trying to get my attention. But I picked this up in Kansas when we went to go visit. Where we used to live, the fireworks over the 4th of July was a pretty big deal. I think for maybe a week, maybe a few less days over the week of the 4th, you could set fireworks off just about anywhere in town. And so if you had a cul-de-sac, which we did, the neighbors would congregate, you know, in the little circle of the cul-de-sac and set things off. We'd sit in lawn chairs at the end of our driveway, and we would, you know, watch everybody's fireworks. And I think the local baseball team would have a tent, and they would have a fundraiser where they would sell fireworks. And people that we were friends with from the surrounding towns would come over, and we'd, you know, have a meal together, and we'd go over to either the high school or the park and watch, you know, the city set off their big fireworks, and then we'd come back and we'd set off whatever we had left. So it was a great community time. You saw all your neighbors and, you know, people you went to church with, and you know, your kids' school friends and their parents. It was a great time. And it was just, I thought this was just a cute little finish to remind me of that time. And we went to go visit in July, so I was like, oh, that's perfect. So I'm just using DMC threads with that. And let's use the same little board. I've stitched on this a couple times, and got a little bit of a start. So the fabric, it looks like, is 14 count Aida on Beautiful Beige. So that'll move along pretty quick, I think. So just a couple little threads too. Okay, so there's that one. And then the third start I had was a Primrose Cottage, another Primrose Cottage piece, and it was a Valentine one. So I've stitched one in this little series before. Let's see, I think I'm doing this one. I think it's the Sweetheart one by Primrose Cottage Stitches. So I haven't gotten very far on this one. Just a little bit of the border. I'm not sure what the top and bottom is, and I usually mark the top and bottom, or the top anyway, but I didn't on this one. So I'm guessing it's pretty symmetrical, so it should be it should be okay. So I'm trying to think of what the other one was that I did. It was another Valentine's one, and then I have this one also, February 14th. So anyway, they're pretty cute. All right, so then that's the beginning of January. And then in sometime along the way when I was watching Sable Stitchers, Lenny had shared this Kansas spool by Crafty Bluebonnet Designs. And January 29th is Kansas Day, and Kansas Day is a big deal in Kansas at schools. And I taught first grade, taught fourth grade, a little bit of kindergarten, but mostly first. And we always had these little booklets that we did that talked about the state bird, the state flower, the state tree, the state amphibian, all the state things, and the history of our flag. And our motto is it ad ast? I should know this, but it's in Latin and it means to the stars through difficulty. So anyway, we celebrated Kansas Day pretty big every year, and I wanted to stitch this up because it was just really pretty. The stitching on it will have a little bit of texture with some like long stitches, so to make it look like the wheat. So I think it'll be pretty fun. So that's another one I started actually on Kansas Day on January 29th, and it's a very small start. Oop, my needle's about ready to fall out. Okay, so just kind of got started on it, which is for me half the battle. Just to make sure you're kind of starting it in the right place. And so then those are all of my new starts. So I started off the year, at least all of those are pretty small. So let's see, I've got some WIPGO stitching, and so let's talk about January WIPGO. Let me look at my calendar a little bit. So if you're not familiar with WIPGO, it's kind of a whip stitching strategy, like gamified, so that you could, here's my WIPGO board. So it's kind of like a bingo board for your whips, and people do lots of different things with it, and kind of customize it to what they want to do. Some people do all new starts, some people do whips, some people are doing Christmas WIPGO. So anyway, I went through and did my categories pretty loosely so I could pick up whatever I had at the time. So like Christmas, I have Stacy Nash on there, animals, Fat Quarter Shop, hands-on design, kind of broad, because most likely I'll have some whips. So for January, it was number 10, which was floral. And sorry, somebody was calling me, and I'm recording on my phone, so I wanted to see if it would stop the recording, but it looks like it's going still. So one of the picks was number 10, and for me that was floral, and I chose a project from the Jingle Ball, and it was from Hands-On Design called Perforated Poinsettias. It was a little needle book made with perforated paper. And then number 6, which was another Hands-On Design, Let's Talk Winter. So I have both of those. I did some stitching on them. So here is my Hands-On Design, Let's Talk Winter. So if I remember correctly, I added on to the bird down here and started a little tree. I might have done the man, but kind of worked down a little bit. It's on a 14 count chalkboard black. And I keep forgetting to tell you what the fabric is on things. This Kansas spool, I wrote it on the back of the pattern. It's Lori Holt vintage cloth, 25 count even weave in prim. So it's something that I just had in stash. So if you're curious about what this warm winter wishes will look like when it's finished, it'll be like this. So I have some of these trees to do and kind of work down here. I'm really excited to do the snow globe. It's kind of my favorite part. And if you come across this pattern, you'll see there's a couple little smalls that you can do. So anyway, I've worked on this for quite a little while. I pick it up every once in a while. And so that's that one. Hopefully, oh yeah, I do have it here. The perforated poinsettias is here. And I thought this would be a really quick stitch, and it probably is, but I got the kit from Kathy because it had the felt and the some of the little pieces that I didn't want to have to hunt down. Some velvet ribbon. So let's see, where's my little project? Here it is. Okay, so I think I have the front finished, and I started the back. I had this grand idea that I was going to have this finished for, you know, before the Jingle Ball, but I didn't. Anyway, really pretty. So next I'll show you what I kind of got obsessed with at the beginning of the year. Make sure all of these bits are back in the bag. Oh, like my fancy project, let's see. Yeah, my fancy project bag. Just a little Ziploc, it does the trick. I wanted to keep the cardboard in there to keep the perforated paper flat and supported. This is the one that I really spent a lot of time. Let me move that notification there. A lot of time stitching. I had an error I noticed at the beginning of the year when I was doing 12 by 12. Now my camera's jiggling. And it was seasonal etchings. So I had started this, I think last year, and I noticed when I picked it up this year that I had made a mistake in counting the little ears, and oh, I was a little bummed out. So what I ended up doing was enlarging the pattern, like make a copy of it, making it larger so that I could highlight it, and that made all the difference in the world. And once I got started, I was having so much fun with it, I didn't want to stop. And so I took the other 4 quarters and like copied them bigger, and I have each one on a separate little sheet. And I don't have a whole lot of time, you know, hours and hours to stitch. Some days I can get like 45 minutes to an hour in it, you know, after dinner. And I stitched a lot of days on this because I wanted the I wanted this complete. So it's just the first quadrant, and it's the hair, or the bunny. I love the color of the flowers, and there's some variegation in the rabbit's color. It's kind of a greenish brown. So let me tell you what I'm stitching on here. It's a fabric flare. It's 16 count waxing moon dyed effect. So you can see it labeled right there. So I really like stitching on it, and it's got a nice, kind of a nice mottled look to it. So anyway, I really enjoyed working on that. So the next one will be the little fish, and I'm going to go ahead and start that this month. I need to kind of catch up with some of my February WIPGO, so I'm probably going to save it for a little later in the month, I think. Okay, so the next one is, I think I started this at the end of last year. So it is a tiny modernist, and it's called Winter Forest Ornaments. It was a 5-part mystery series, and I think I probably didn't start it until maybe Christmas break. And I think it was released, you know, in 5 parts, but I think I had all of them when I started it. So this is some pretty dense stitching there, but I really enjoyed it. So I've got this one in my little fox bag that I made. And here is, let's see, there's that middle ornament. And I started the candy cane and the ornament that's next to it. That one will have a rabbit in it, I think. So this fabric is, let's see, I'm pretty sure it's 14 count and something, I don't know, like a raw or natural or something like that. I'm not sure I wrote it down. No, I didn't write it down yet, but it's, you know, got a little bit of the natural flex in it, which I thought, it's upside down, which I thought was great for kind of a natural woodland background. So anyway, I'll look that up for the next time. Unless I put it in here. Nope. And they're all on DMCs. So I'm not very good about telling all the things before I move on. So I guess I should tell you that for this pattern, I'm using the called for, I think it's Weeks. No, it's Classic Color Works. So there's a little more, you know, variegation to this one, which is nice. It shows up. I think that's part of what I liked about that one. And this one's just DMC, which made it really easy to kit up. So anyway, okay, next on my list is February's WIPGO. So for February, number 5 and number 22 were called. So my number 22 is like an anytime stitch. It's not seasonal. And so for that one, I picked out a pattern by the Story Stitcher. And I finally printed off the cover sheet because it had messed up the first time I printed it. It's by Joan, I'm going to say Biscoff DeWitt. I might not be pronouncing that second name quite right, but I'll put it like this so you can see it. And then there's the design. And I think that she did this in celebration of, I don't know how many years. Would it be 250 years or 200 years of Jane Austen? It was an anniversary year last year. And I just thought it was really sweet and soft. And I really like the house. And I wanted to try some Quaker motifs. So it's DMC threads that I'm using. And I'm stitching this on 14 count Aida. And it's a Picture This Plus. Let me show you. There's just a subtle variation to it. I think it might be Fog. Yes, Fog. It's so soft to stitch on. Okay, so I'll hold it up here so you can see it. And I have made some changes to it. So I'll tell you what they are after you have a little peek. So when I stitch on this, it reminds me of years ago when I went to go visit my sister in Tennessee, and she loves the Keira Knightley, is it Sense and Sensibility? I can't remember which one it is. Could be Pride and Prejudice. Anyway, the Keira Knightley Jane Austen movie. And we watched it together one night. It was so good. And I know our daughters probably were pretty young at the time. And so my niece, she is, I think she's 18 now. She's a senior, and she is a big reader, always has been. And she loves that movie as well. And so I noticed that it had 3 initials, and they're Jane's, the letters of her name. So there's J, let's see, A, where's the A? Is that the A? No, that's the N. There's the A. And is there one more? Oh yeah, there's an E down here. Okay, so it has Jane's letters. So I thought, well, what if I like commemorate, you know, my visits and watching that movie together. And now my niece is kind of grown up and she loves Jane Austen too and loves to read. And so I put my initial here, M, and my sister's initial here, and my niece's initial here. And as it turns out, Jane's initial is right here. So that ties all of this together. And here's the great thing. If my daughter decides to read those books or watch this movie and loves it, and we share that together in the future, then there'll be a J there for her too. So right under that. So that'll be kind of neat. And that it'll work out that way. So DMCs. I really like that Picture This Plus. It's very soft, and I think I'm using a hoop with that one. So this is another little bag. It's a little smaller than the regular project bags, but I like using this one for, it's got a little gingham inside. So got that one. Okay, so the other February WIPGO call was number 5, and for that one, I am doing the Shine On Sampler, which actually it's over here. Okay, so I've had a work trip at the beginning of each month since January. This is the week I had the 3rd one for some training in Santa Fe. And I always think I need to kit up some stuff, and I don't know why I do this, because I'm not kit up, but I'm gonna call it an analog bag. My mom made me this big bag. I love the handle fabric and the lining fabric, and I don't know, I filled it up with cross stitch projects and a book and some colored pencils and a coloring book, a journal, all kinds of fun stuff. But I got there a little later on Sunday, and then I had dinner plans on Monday. I had an amazing dinner at one of the restaurants in Santa Fe where we were staying and had our training. It was right on the historic plaza. And then Tuesday evening I drove home, and so I ended up I had some work to do in the evening too while I was there, so I really didn't end up being able to do any stitching this time. Usually I get some stitches in, but I didn't this time. Okay, so I got it. It was in here because I thought, oh, I'll work on that. Get my WIPGO time in. So what I'm doing with WIPGO is I'm saying for right now, I was going to lower it to 3 this year just to make it more achievable. But I was like, no, I want to try and go for 5. Either 5 sit downs with your stitch, no matter what amount of time it is. Or if I have a long stretch of time on the weekend, I might count the hours. So I'm looking for 5. So either 5 times or 5 hours. So pretty loose, but I want to get a good amount of stitching in it. So it is Camille Ross Kelly's Shine On Sampler. And let's see, did I bring the book? Okay, I didn't take the book with me. I actually made a working copy. This is the book it comes out of, and it's a quilt book, but in the back there is a cross stitch pattern that looks like this, and it matches the quilt. And anyway, I just copied a few motifs so that I could highlight, because it was working well from the other patterns that I had, and I didn't really want to mark in the book. So far, have I stitched on this? You know what? I haven't. Did I put it? What did I write here? Okay, those are on my plans. That's right. So I'll go ahead and show it to you since I've shown you all the other things. But I'm using Cosmo floss with this. And I want to say it's 25 count Lugana that I'm stitching it on. Yeah, 25 count Lugana. It's just white. So anyway, haven't stitched on that. These are my plans, WIPGO plans for the month. Stitchville, that's the one that I did stitch on. So I think I've mentioned before that I'm really trying pretty hard to make sure I take a lunch break, because I don't know, I tend to get on a roll and just want to keep going. I have a lot of like meetings in the mornings and the afternoons sometimes, and I have a stretch of time during the middle of the day when the teachers are taking kids to lunch and they're having their lunch that I'm not really meeting with anybody. And so I'm like, you need to take a break. But it's a nice chunk of time to work. So, but I found that I feel more rested and energetic if I take some time. So I carry some cross stitch back and forth, but sometimes I read while I'm eating, and I haven't been very good lately at stitching, but that's a habit I'm trying to get into. So this pattern that I have is called Stitchville, and I want to make sure that I don't show you the pattern. Here it is. It's by Camille Ross Kelly. She's the designer that did the Shine On sampler. So I'm just doing it on a white 14 count Eda. My sister has this pattern too. I don't know if she is gonna try it or not. I don't know that she's done much cross stitch, so I'm hoping she will do it. We're kind of hobby collectors. We joke about our new hobby obsessions, but she's, I think, gonna try needlepoint out first. And so anyway, it's kind of fun. This is my stitching so far. And all of this I've done either at work or on a car trip. So not a ton yet, but every little bit kind of adds up. All right. I have a little notepad stuck in here. Kathy and Bill sent that with their kit for the jingle ball, and a pen too, if I remember right. So it's just a little notepad. Oh, I'm showing it to you upside down. I'm sorry. Oh, it's really faint. That's why. Okay, that looks better. But Hands-On Design, they sent it with their perforated poinsettias kit. So it was a nice little extra to have. And I'm going to put that in my my little tote here to write some notes on. Okay, the next one that I have is Lily. And really, I think I've only put a few threads in here for Lily, but I did stitch on it, so I thought I'd show it to you. It's by Stacy Nash. It's one of the animal crackers. She's just so cute. So most of these are Weeks Dye Works thread. I just have this one in a Amazon bag, and I'm using a hoop to stitch this one. And here it is. So I just got half of her face. And I'm doing this one on a platinum Belfast linen 32 count. All right. Okay, I did mention that it was Thursday evening and that I might have to do a portion of the video and then do another portion on another day. So I believe that was Thursday. And I've had a wardrobe change. It's now Saturday afternoon. And I was able to show you all of my WIPs that I've been working on the past 2 months. And so now I have some other things to share with you. I've made a few trips to some little local needle workshops. I attended Jingle Ball, some things like that. So I have made some purchases and over time. So this would have been throughout the fall. I think I had a birthday purchase in there as well. So I thought I'd share some of those things. I've been kind of accumulating them and kind of tucking them back. So I'd like to go ahead and put them away and decide, what things I think I might stitch on in the next few months. So I think it's kind of fun to see some of the purchases people have made, even if they're not stitching on them quite yet, because it helps me kind of think about, see patterns that I wouldn't otherwise see because I don't have a local needle workshop here close to me. And I think, bookstores and needle workshops, quilt shops, when they're locally owned, the owners and their employees together kind of curate a collection of, books or fabrics, patterns, samples, things like that. And so it kind of gives that shop its own unique flavor. And I love, seeing such a nice variety of things depending on where you go. And so that's pretty fun. When we travel, I kind of like to stop at a local coffee shop and see if they have a local bookstore. I usually look for a quilt shop or a needle workshop. Not all of the, the little towns or big towns that we go visit have that, but those are some of the things that we kind of look for. So I'm going to start with some things from the Jingle Ball. And I guess that kind of counts as my birthday as well, because my birthday is pretty close to when the Jingle Ball happens. And so for my birthday this year, my husband was like, my gift to you is to be able to do a little shopping. And so that's what I did. It was kind of nice to have kind of a birthday budget to be able to do that. So most of the things that I got were from Primrose Cottage, but I also got a pattern from Teresa Kogut and a couple other little patterns too. So I'll go through those kind of quickly, or try to. But I did get Snowman Kisses. I really love this line of patterns, all the kisses and wishes, because they're nice, easy little patterns to whip up. They're just really sweet. So there's that one. And then I got Mary Mouse from Primrose Cottage. I'll kind of zoom in there. Some fun little stockings. And then a Cup of Cheer. I think the year before, maybe, or sometime during the year, I think maybe the year before, I purchased some in the same color scheme. And so I thought they would look nice sitting together. So, Cup of Cheer. And here's Snowman 2024. And Snowman 2025. Okay. And then I was able to get a little frame for that. And I think Lindsay's dad made the frame. I think a dad and a nephew have a business and they make frames, so I was able to purchase that. And I got a finishing kit that has some green, red, and cream fabrics. So I might even open that. You know, I have a little bit of a stash of fabrics, but these finishing fabrics are really nice because they're not solid, but they kind of read as a solid color. So got a red on red polka dot, and this one I love, little stars, kind of a cream and taupe color, and then these polka dots, and then I assume that these little felt patches are to kind of cover your hole in the back, and then a little bit of trim. So that's kind of a nice one to have. I think I can let that go. So, and I also did get, I usually don't, I love the little charms and needle minders. They're so cute. Like, I could go wild, but I tend to try and prioritize my dollars for like the patterns and fabric and things like that to be able to actually stitch. But it was my birthday, so I got this little charm. Since I do have quite a few patterns that are kind of in that same color scheme, I thought it would be fun to have a bag just for them and hang that on the bag. So then it's called Christmas Stocking Charm. So I don't think I've ever stitched a Teresa Kogut pattern before, but I thought this was really darling. It's called Holiday Stroll. Let's see, I've got a little piece of plastic on here. It's sticking to me. So I'll bring it in a little closer. I love the motion of the stride with the reindeer and Santa. Like, they look like they're not messing around. They're, you know, they're going with some purpose. And I love the little cardinal and the snowman. They're just really sweet. There's even like a little house in there. Oh, right there. That's a place for the date. So anyway, I really like that. So it's in a nice colored booklet. The chart's really big. So I think it'll be a nice one to be able to stitch. I mean, the chart is huge. That whole thing is on, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This whole thing is on like 6 pages. Parts of the chart aren't like the whole page, but it looks like it's broken up really nicely. So I think that'll be, you know, a nice fun stitch. I think that's really why I like Primrose Cottage, and I didn't realize her patterns would be like this too, but they're good size and they're in color. Oh, I have to tell you a funny story. Okay, this past week I was in Santa Fe for training, and I have another colleague that also needs to eat gluten-free. I avoid dairy too, and so she's from Albuquerque, so about 45 minutes away, and she is really good at knowing where great restaurants are. So anyway, I said, if you pick out a place, we'll go and try it out together. So it was really nice. It was within walking distance. We should have walked, but we did drive over, and I think it was called Apothecary. So anyway, it was a really kind of intimate restaurant as far as like size, and it was in, you know, some of the old buildings along the historic plaza area, kind of within a few blocks. And so the lights were dim, and we had a lovely meal. Like, everything was amazing. And I was able, it's really hard to get dessert as a person that can't eat gluten and dairy, but they had cheesecake, which like I could never have, right? So I was so excited. So we both got cheesecake and we tried each other's. She got a chocolate one that had like a little bit of like a chili of some sort. And then mine was a key lime. It was so good. So anyway, we got our ticket. And like I said, it was a little dim in there. Excuse me. And I realized when I got home, and I was like kind of going through receipts, and my husband enters them into our, you know, into our computer to kind of keep track of our budget and everything. And he brought me the receipt and he goes, I'm really confused. He said, I know you usually leave like a 20% tip, but the math isn't adding up. And that there was a 6 on the receipt, and I had confused it for an 8 because apparently I cannot see. So I I have progressive lenses, and I should be able to see, but evidently I need more light than a restaurant has. So I'm like, oh boy, I need to maybe get my eyes checked again. So big charts in color, always going to be a plus for me right now. So these other ones, I think maybe, I don't know, I got them right around the Jingle Ball time, but I think I had to order them like from an online store. I was really going after this one. It's a Brenda Gervais with a needle and thread and Rudolph and Friends. I've been looking at this for so long and I just absolutely adore it. So I'll bring it in kind of closer so you can see Rudolph with his head kind of turned up, looking at the snowman. There's some cardinals. It is so sweet. Sorry for the glare. It's a little earlier in the afternoon, and this time of year, the sun, we have some like deep porch, I think, deep porch, but it's a patio floor. Anyway, the sun tends to come in pretty low in the wintertime. So anyway, I'll try to angle it so you can see it. You've probably seen it. I feel like it's been kind of everywhere, but I went on a hunt for it. I don't know if it wouldn't have been at the Jingle Ball. I don't know why. I got on that little, I think I just had to have it. So the same time I ordered that, I ordered this little wee one from Heart and Hand, and it's called Love and Peace. And don't we need more of that right now? So anyway, I thought that might be a quick little stitch. So I think I got this one from Stitch On in Lawrence, Kansas, about the same time. It's from Annie B's, and I've never had one of her patterns either, but there was something about the sunflowers and the pumpkin and the pink fabric. I mean, to me, it just looks so different from everything else that I've seen out there or purchased. But I love that this fall, this fall stitch was on a pink fabric. And are there words at the bottom? It does say crow. And it's called In the Pumpkin Patch. I'm sorry for the glare. I might need to take some of these out of their little package. So that was kind of right around my birthday time frame, and Jingle Ball time frame. So at some point during the end of last year, let's see if I have this envelope. It might be postmarked. Oh, this was actually from September. I was watching this great Flosstuber that I never miss. And I'm trying to think now, I should have looked it up, but she's either the 504 stitcher or the 502 stitcher. I will link it down below, but her name is Paula, and I never miss her Flosstubes. She has, she's so prolific. She always has a lot of great things to show on her channel, and she does a lot of Primrose Cottage, but she has you know, a nice variety of other designers that she also stitches. And she had done a giveaway for Primrose Cottage, had their brick and mortar store that opened in July, and she had placed an order and gotten their little exclusive pattern. And I think I could hold this up and kind of show it to you. It's really, the picture of it's really small, but I'm going to try and hold it up so you can kind of see the design. But it is some little spools of thread and some flowers. It's really sweet. Just a little cute little stitch, and it was a free pattern with purchase during that grand opening time. And so she was able to, and there's some little scissors in there too. She was able to stitch it, and I think maybe she'd made a couple of purchases and had an extra one, and she did a giveaway, and I won it. I was so excited. And so I'm looking forward to stitching that one up. But she sent the sweetest note. And, you know, it is so fun to connect with other cross stitchers. I really don't know anyone here in town that cross stitches. And so, you know, having that connection with people that we've met and been able to like comment on their videos and things like that on Flosstube has been really fun, and meeting them at events like the Jingle Ball. Honestly, I'll be honest, I haven't been brave enough to really go and do like the speed dating. I've gone in to do some of the stitching tables before, and I know I would have so much fun, but I've been kind of I've been kind of shy, so I need to like branch out and like turn the camera on and meet some people, because it really does mean a lot to connect with some really kind, sweet people that have the same interests that you do. So Paula, if you're watching, thank you for the giveaway, and thank you for sending that to me. So I'm looking forward to that. So Christmas came along, and like I mentioned, my sister is very crafty. She's actually an artist. She does watercolor paintings. I think she's illustrated a children's book for her school that they did as part of, I'm not probably telling this right, but I know she and someone else at her school partnered, and she illustrated a book, and it focused on the Appalachian Mountains and some of the things that the Appalachian Mountains are known for. And she's just an amazing artist. She's also a teacher. All of my siblings are. And so anyway, but she likes doing artistic, crafty things, and she quilts and has several little hobbies. But she discovered that she has a needlepoint shop not far from her, I think in Knoxville. And so she went and did some little shopping for me for my birthday. And so she picked up this canvas. Let's see if I have something to put behind it. And it came with a little needle. So it's kind of a modern Christmas tree. And I did one needlepoint little snowman ornament years and years ago, probably 25 years ago. And I remember liking it, but I need to look. I think needlepoint, if you know, please tell me. I feel like I learned in the past that needlepoint is like half of the cross stitch. So you just go one direction. But then she picked up a book, and there was a whole bunch of like different stitches. So I'm like, am I mistaken about that? So anyway, I need to like learn more so I can start stitching it. But I think she got it from the store here. It's called, let's see, Canvas Queen Needlepoint. And I'm thinking it's in Knoxville. So she also picked up the threads to go with it. And oh gosh, these are, it looks like a combination of silk and merino wool. So I'll show you some of the colors. So there's a yellow and a green and a blue, and then there's a cream, and this little purple. Oh, and there's one more. Oh no, there's a couple more. Gosh. So there's a purple in this green here, and then there's a thicker one that's the blue, and I think that's the blue for like the background color. And this one is Well, the color is duck egg, but it says, I think it's 50%. This one might be 50% silk and 50% wool too. Yes, made in Switzerland. So it feels very fancy. It's so soft. So that's going to be fun to learn how to do. And I like that it's a small, you know, achievable project. So anyway, make sure I get all of those tucked back in. This is the nice card that came with the order, Canvas Queen needlepoint, and it's got a beautiful little, almost wallpaper looking border to it. Then I've got my little note that my sister wrote me in here for my birthday. So anyway, I've got to do some research. If you have ever needle pointed and you can point me in the right direction with like a video tutorial for beginners that you think is really good, let me know, because I'm on the hunt. Okay, so my next little trip that we took was to Utah, to the Salt Lake City area, and we had to get something with our truck camper fixed while it was still under warranty. So it ended up that I thought we'd be sitting there all day because we had like a little list of things that we needed to have checked. And my intention was to go to Pine Needles again, but I'd never been to Shepherd's Bush when we had been there before into the Salt Lake City area. I couldn't get up to that side of the city. Shepherd's Bush is in Ogden, I think, and I couldn't get back up there before it closed. So this time I was like, okay, I'm gonna go there first. Yes, Ogden, Utah. It's on the northern side of the Salt Lake City like metro area. And so we walked in and my husband went in with me. He was like, we went and had lunch at this, I don't know if it was a brewery, but it was a place, I think they had burgers and things across the street, and had lunch. And then he walked over to the store with me, and he walked in and like, he is in no way like a stitcher or quilter or anything like that. His creativity comes from like coding software and that kind of thing. So he walked in and he said, wow. They had such nice displays set up. When you first walked in, they had this branch that they had decorated with smalls and like patterns nicely organized around that went along with those. He was like, you're gonna really enjoy this. He goes, I'm gonna go walk around because it's kind of around a square, I would guess you would call it. And they said, oh, you should go by, there's like a train museum or something like that. And so he was able to go do some fun things while I just had some, you know, just no pressure, relaxing time to look around. So they put this in my bag. It's like this cute little matchbook, and it's got the little sheep on it. And then on the back side, it says needles and pins are found within. And then you open it up and it's got a little piece of felt with a needle. So that, I don't know, it was just a sweet little surprise. And then it kind of tucks in to this little thing. It says, be happy. So just fun little touches like that are nice. So I went in, I usually go in with, especially to a local needle workshop, with an idea to look for fabric. So I had this pattern already. It's Heartstring Samplery, an ode to libraries. And I love this sentiment that's on there. It says, the very existence of libraries affords the best evidence that we may yet have hope for the future of humanity. So it's got a little book under here. So I wanted to look for fabric, and if I remember correctly, I found some. Had actually 2 or 3 options to choose from, and I cannot find it. So I'm wondering if I pulled it for something else that came up as a higher priority for me. So I don't know what I did with it. So this is back on the back burner till I get a fabric for it. But I did find some great items. So she had a lot of with a needle and thread patterns from Brenda Gervais. And I've seen this one before online. It's called A Witch in Her Garden. And I've never made a drum before. It looks a little intimidating to me, but I mean, I liked it, you know, but I didn't feel like, you know, I had to have it right now. But I saw it stitched up like this, in a frame. And I loved being able to see the whole thing. And it's got several stacks of pumpkins and sunflowers and the little crows. And I just kind of fell in love with it. So I think I'm very tempted to frame it, but I don't know, maybe I'll get a wild hair when it's time and learn how to do the drum. Well, we shall see. So then I'd been looking at Woodland Witch for quite a little bit before I went, and the little witch and mushrooms are under a cloche, and I really love that. So pick that one up. And then this one, they had the sample of the sewing bird, and towards the back of the store it was framed, and I think it was maybe stitched on something a little bit different, maybe a gray, and it was framed, and it really caught my eye. So I picked that one up. I thought that would be perfect to have in a sewing room, or even like on top of a stitch case or something like that, because the bird has a little needle and thread, and you've got your spool down here. So grab that one. And the other thing I was looking for was some thread, because I already had fabric to go with this little pillow from Sweet Wing Studio. I think it's called Goodness and Mercy. But I needed, I think I'll do most of that in DMC, but I love the variegation in this little bird. And when I went, it calls for Brother in Blue. So I looked at Brother in Blue, and maybe it is. Let me take it out. When I looked at the thread and compared it to the picture, I thought that the thread looked a lot more green. And I don't know if it's showing up like that on the camera. It looks closer in the camera, but this looks really green in real life. So I was like, well, can I find, I heard a bird out there. We've had some woodpeckers that we've had to chase off a little bit. But I picked up this blue jay that I thought might be, it is different. It's not as dark, but it's, I don't know, it's closer in person, maybe a little lighter. But anyway, I don't know. I don't want a green bird. Maybe I could mix those two colors and blend them. So anyway, I wanted a place where I could actually look and see the thread. So anyway, I've already got the fabric for that. I got that at Colorado Cross Stitcher, maybe the year before, and it's Cafe au lait. Just a nice neutral. So there's that. Now the thing that I loved most about Shepherd's Bush is they will have some samples and some, the patterns with it, but they will then have a little basket of fabric that's already cut to the size and it's the fabric that the sample was stitched on. And sometimes it matches what the pattern looks like, and sometimes it doesn't. And that was really fun to see. So you didn't have to have something cut. You could just pick it up, and it's nicely labeled, so when you get home, you have it. So right by the register, they had this pattern by with a needle and thread. It's called Winter Berries and Pine, and I had been looking for this for a couple of years, and I'd gone out to is it Country Sampler or something like that. I can't remember, but Brenda Gervais like online shop, and it had been sold out for a really long time. But she must have printed some more patterns, and Shepherd's Bush had them right by the register, and then they had the fabric that was already cut, you know, that they had stitched it on. So I was like, okay, that's perfect. This one looks a little bit pinker, which has made me think, you know, I'd be tempted to stitch it on some pink fabric, but I thought no matter what, having something to start with would be good. So I got that one. And then this one is a Shepherd's Bush pattern called Thoughts of Halloween. And they had had this already stitched up. I'll zoom in a little bit closer so you can see the pattern. So it says, Moon, take thy flight. And I didn't get the button. They had some. You could get a pattern with the button or without the button. And I kind of thought maybe I'd want to just stitch a moon with a really variegated yellow. And I was able to get the fabric for that too. And then they had this one by Primrose Cottage. And this one, I don't know why, this one does not appeal to me as much as some of the others. I think maybe because the fabric is a little more yellow. And so I was like, well, I can wait on that. I've got lots of Primrose Cottage to stitch. But their sample was stitched on purple, and I loved it. It was so cute. So that fabric, it changes it up so much. So I picked up the fabric to go with it. I was looking through fabric, and I had gotten this pattern at Colorado Cross Stitcher when I went to go visit, and it's Barbara Anna Designs, and it's called Christmas Joy. But I'm going to take it out so you can see it a little bit better without the glare. There we go, that's better. But it's very whimsical. I love the little elf that's there. And Colorado Cross Stitcher, in their shop, they had a sample of it. And I think what really caught my eye was it was stitched on green. I think Kermit. And I didn't get, I'd already bought a lot of fabric. And so I was like, okay, I can hold off on that. But I think about that all the time, that sample. And so I could order the Kermit from her, but when I was going through the fabric at Shepherd's Bush, they had this beautiful green. I got a big piece. I think it's a fat quarter. So it's got some modeling, but it's pretty subtle. And it is a Picture This Plus called Pickled. And I got it in a, what count? 32 count linen. So anyway, I'm excited to try and stitch that on this green. It'll be very Christmassy. So I love the feel of the Picture This Plus in the 14 count. I have not stitched the 32 count in Picture This Plus, but just looking at it right now, I mean, I can see the holes okay. And I think definitely under my magnifier, I'd be just fine. So then the other thing that they changed up, it was a little bit different. So I had this pattern at home from Hello from Liz Matthews. Darling, I just love it. It's called Boo. And you can see the kitty cats and pumpkins, the crow. And they had stitched theirs on a count that is, what is this? 18 count. And so it's a more open weave, but it made it really big. And I think they'd made a pillow out of it. So I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. So I think think I may try it. It's a cute one that I could see myself stitching it like in a small pillow and in a bigger one. So anyway, I thought I'd try that. Is it 18 count? Yeah. I don't know. I just saw it sitting there and I'd already actually checked out, and I was like, wait, I think I need that. So that was my trip to Shepherd's Bush. They were very helpful in there, and helped me a little bit with my fabric selection that I made, and just, you know, offered to help me find anything, but after they'd offered their help and, you know, they were available, but gave me a chance to look around and shop. So just lovely. Ogden was a nice place to go spend the afternoon, have lunch. And I think we went to a coffee shop there. So it was a great little excursion. Okay, so I have one other little pile, and I'm trying to think. It must have been over Christmas break. It was after Christmas. So my daughter came home from college before Christmas. She had some, I think a theater show to do. And so she came home the weekend before Christmas. We spent a few days together and celebrated, and then she went home. There was some weather that had come. I knew I was watching Utah. There was some weather that we were watching, and then I knew we couldn't make it before Christmas because of the weather. So I didn't want to travel on Christmas. So we went between Christmas and New Year's we spent the night in Kanab, and then we wanted to go to Zion. So we spent the night in Kanab, drove to Zion, spent a day there, and then the next day we went up to, it's part of Zion, but it's up further north, and let me think. I think it's called like Kolob Canyons, which we loved that part. It's a little smaller. It's a nice like 5-mile drive up, and the views are breathtaking. And it wasn't as many, like, I was just so shocked at how many people were there over winter break in Zion on the main road. But it was great to see it. You're going to spend a lot of time in a shuttle bus with people standing, and you're crammed in there. Was not expecting that. But if you're going to hike the Narrows, or you're going to climb up to Angel's Landing, like, that's the way to do it. So after we toured that area, we stayed in St. George, and that was a neat little town. So my purpose was to go visit Primrose Cottage, the brick and mortar store. And I was like, okay, we need to look for some coffee shops and look for a bookstore. And I did go to a bookstore. It was in this, I think it's called Bungalow Books or something like that. And it was this neat little a bungalow house, and a cute little bookstore in there. So there's lots of things to do there. So I'm going to be going back for the retreat in July of this year. And so I kind of got the lay of the land, and, you know, places that might be good to eat and things like that. So I made a few little purchases there, and not just Primrose Cottage purchases. So I'll show you a little bit of what I got. So I'll start with the patterns. So this one had been a recent release, Joy to the World. So a sweet little nativity. And they sell their dad's frames in the shop, and they had this one that goes with a pattern, which I thought was kind of a lucky find. And then I got, this matches some of the other patterns that I'd gotten. I don't think I repeated anything. But when I put them away, I'll find out. This is Cocoa Quilt. And I've never done any of these either. And then Cocoa Quaker. And then I've always loved this little berry basket. And then I was able to get the color and cotton packs. I love how they label things so that when you get home, you know what these things belong to. So this is the Cocoa Quaker and Cocoa Quilt thread pack. And it has the color and cotton, which I've never stitched with, so I'm excited to try them. And then this is the Master Floss pack for stitching rules, stitching Quaker, and stitching quilt. So I did get some fabric for a couple of things. I got 28 count Icelandic gray, and it's a 28 count linen, and then light ash gray. I want to say I had, let's see, the light ash gray, what is that one in? 32 count. I think I got it to go with, must have been this one, yeah. The berry basket. I knew I would need, you know, the fabric to go with that. So, I want to say the other one was for something that I already have. But, so they do carry other people's patterns too. So the first one that I picked up was Jeanette Douglas. Here in Albuquerque, well, when I lived in the Kansas City area, we had a hot air balloon festival, and my husband and I had gone to that for a couple of years, but it's a big thing here. Albuquerque has this unique box airflow pattern. I'm not saying probably all the right words, but because of the mountains and the desert and a river, and because of the geographic conditions there, there's this box of airflow that happens that has just the right, you know, lift and all that. So when they launch, they can go out like over the river, and then they lift, and the way the wind goes, it'll bring them back. And so they can create almost this box, if I remember what people said correctly. So there's always a huge like international hot air balloon festival there. And that's on our list of things that we want to go do. But some of the surrounding towns, we have one here in Farmington, and it's been amazing. So for a couple of years, they would launch at the lake and come, like, I kid you not, like right over our house. And I could have like reached out and touched the basket probably. And it goes over to the college, and they land in their parking lot. So it is just something else to just hear that of the fire. And you think, what on earth is that noise? And you go outside, and there's all these hot air balloons around your house. So anyway, and they've like Pagosa Springs up in Colorado and Durango, and I think there's one in Gallup. So they happen all around. But anyway, I did pick up this pattern by Jeanette Douglas. It's part of a series, I think, of 4. And this one is the number 1 called, I think it's the series called Travel Together. And this is number 1. It's called Trip and Voyage, because it says Trip and Voyage, and it's got the hot air balloon, some suitcases, a camera. So this one, and then I got this one too. This one, we love to, you know, go see the national parks and spend time camping and that kind of thing. This one is number 4, called Explore and Ramble. So that one's really pretty. So I have to keep an eye out. I thought I'd get to start with those, and then kind of see. I don't even remember what the other 2 look like, but maybe I'll add the other 2 once I finish these. This is October House Fiber Arts for a friend. That was really sweet. And then this was brand new when I got there. If you're a quilter, you might recognize the name Layla Boutique. She does quilt patterns and fabric, and she her name is Vanessa Gertson, and she has released a couple of cross-stitch patterns that are based on her quilt patterns. And I love these. They're so cute. The quilt pattern is darling, but a lot of pieces to stitch or to, you know, cut and sew together. This seems a little more, a little more approachable right now in my life. So those, I was excited to see those. And then at the time, it was close to January, and they were still doing their Free Stitch Friday kit. So I don't know if you're familiar, but if you sign up for their newsletter, Primrose Cottages, they have a cross-stitch newsletter and they have a quilting newsletter. And once a month on both of those, they release a free stitch. So it's usually, for the quilting one, just kind of a small pattern. It might be like a table topper or a runner. And then for the cross stitch, it's usually a just really cute seasonal cross stitch, and then it's free for a month, and then it'll be for purchase. So you have to make sure you download it. But usually before the pattern is released, they have a kit that you can purchase. And I'd never gotten one before, but it was, you know, it was right there. And so you get the fabric. This one has a notepad and a pen. And this one had some white Aida. And I want to say the fabric is, or not the fabric, the floss. I keep calling it thread, but I guess technically it is. But there's some DMC in there and some classic colorworks. Yes. So really cute colors. So that'll be a fun one to stitch. I have to print that out. I don't remember off the top of my head. It was probably a little Valentine stitch. Oh yes, it was a Valentine stitch. I remember now. And then the last thing that I got was a dough bowl, because the dough bowl I have, I'll have to show it to you sometime. It's in my bedroom right now. I kid you not, my mom gave it to me, but it is like this big and like this wide. And I can put it, I have a big dining room table, and I can put it on there and fill it with, like, you know, Christmas greenery and things like that. Right now I have it kind of standing on its end in the corner of my bedroom, but there's no way I can fill that dough bowl with cross stitches. I mean, they would have to be like full-size pillows. I have seen Hands On Design, I guess last year, released a big one. I think she calls it a bat, but it's like big awesome produce. And this year, I want to say it's like a carrot with some geese around the edge of it. But I think it's pretty huge. I was like, oh, maybe I could do those and put them in there with some things. So anyway, but I thought this would be a good place to start. Paula, the Flosstube I was telling you about, she's recently has been focused on filling a dough bowl, and they've turned out so cute. So I was like, okay, I want to be able to have a little dough bowl to kind of sit in some places and have some seasonal items in them. Because like I've said before, I haven't been great on finishing things. So I thought that would be like a good little goal. So those are my extensive purchases. I will say I feel like I'm kind of trying to hold off on getting too much. Nashville is happening right now this weekend. I have made a couple of pre-orders with both Lindy Stitches, Stitch On, and Lawrence, and I'm putting I've just picked a couple things, and then I'm gonna make my wish list, because obviously I have tons of things to stitch, and I can put them on my wish list for another time. So I wanted to kind of tell you a couple other things. Okay, I wrote down 504 Stitcher. That's what I wrote down. I said that she has a couple of great I said she has a couple of great suggestions. Oh yes, for how to store your needle minders. So she was showing her hoop that she has with fabric in it, and she is storing her needle minders on there. And I thought, oh, that is a really cute idea. I can show you what I have my needle minders stored on. So a long time ago, I was shopping with my friend for her birthday. Her birthday's actually coming up here in March. I think is it today? Is today the 7th? Yes, today's her birthday. And we were in a little gift shop, and I was able to pick up this chalkboard that's metallic. And so I started kind of putting my needle minders on there. This one is from Bonnie and Camille. It goes with their Shine On sampler. And I don't know. I think I got this one from Fat Quarter Shop, but I don't know whose needle minder that is. And then these came with one of the series with the Fat Quarter Shop and Stitching with the Housewives kind of partnered on. And I have some more still in the bags. But then I got this one, which is the Jane Austen needle minder. Has books on it, and I love libraries and books, so I had to have that one. So anyway, I think sometimes you see things like this at like maybe TJ Maxx or maybe Hobby Lobby, you know, little home decor shops could, you know, have something like that. So anyway, I have it hanging on the end of my cutting table, but I've had it hanging on the wall at different times, so it's a real easy place to, you know, so they don't get lost, and they look nice hanging up. So while I'm talking about floss tubers, I did discover during some of my WIP parades and new YouTubers starting up an account called Sewing Room Secrets. And she's a stitcher from Ireland, and gosh, she has some darling stitching to share. She's so like soft-spoken, it's very calming. And so if you need a new Flosstube person to add to your list, you might go check her out. There's been several others, but I need to like write them down so I can share them with you the next time. So anyway, but those are two you might want to check out. So, you know, at the beginning, I say that this is a channel about cross stitch and taking time to be creative. So I wanted to kind of mention some of that, like taking time to be creative, what's working. I've talked about lunch and how I'm trying to do some stitching then. And my just overall main goal for the whole year is to have more stitching days. So I am keeping track, and this is the 3rd year in a row that I've kind of kept track. So in January, I stitched 20 days out of the month, and that's versus 12 days last year, and then 6 days in 2024. So that's a pretty big difference, 20 days in. And then I didn't write down February because I think when I wrote my notes, it was still February. So let me look. I think I did a pretty good job in February. So I stitched 20 days in February as well. And the year before, 9 days. The year before that, 4 days. So I'm definitely getting a lot more stitching days in. And the time that I'm doing it is usually, it seems like around 9 o'clock, 9:15. You know, we finished dinner, we've kind of cleaned up, and we're just kind of relaxing. Maybe we've watched a show, and then I'll come in here and stitch for a little bit. Sometimes I've stitched in the car when we've been on a trip, but I have to have like 14 count, something pretty good size for me to see. And a little sprinkling, a little handful of days at lunchtime. Now, I really have this idea that I want to start getting up earlier in the morning and have some stitching time in the morning, but we shall see. I've always been a night owl. And I'm finding that I'm not so much of a night owl now because I stay up, but I'm not really enjoying my time later in the evening because I am pretty tired. And so I'm like, well, what if I got up and stitched in the morning after I got ready before I went to work? So I know there are some people out there. I want to say the elementary stitcher, is it Carol Lee? I think she stitches in the morning before work. So it just sounds like such a great time of day to try and stitch. You will have already done something wonderful and taking time for yourself first thing in the morning. So anyway, I'm trying some different things like that to see what will work for me. So anyway, when do you guys stitch? Do you stitch at night? I feel like a lot of people do, but anyway, that's when I tend to get things done. I always have the idea that I'm going to get home, like leave work when like I should when my 8 hours are up and come home and stitch for a little while, but it's usually I get home and I'm like, whoo, I better get dinner going. So anyway, I have plans for the next little bit. I did not get to the Shine On sampler for my February WIPGO. And so I do want to stitch on some of that. It's been a while since I touched that one, and it's such, you know, bright, fun colors that I kind of want to work on that a little bit. And then the WIPGO calls for March are 3 and 4. And it's animals on my WIPGO board and Fat Quarter Shop. So that means I can pick anything with animals and anything from the Fat Quarter Shop. So right now I'm thinking for animals, I don't know, do birds count as an animal? I was thinking about Lily and I was like, well, I don't know if a frog counts as an animal. That's more of an amphibian. But I'm going to say a bird counts. I had many choices, but I've been more drawn to like 14 count lately when the days get longer. And I just recently, in the last week, I felt like I was hearing birds singing. Daylight savings time is tonight, or I guess technically in the morning. So the days are getting longer. We're going to have a little more light. So maybe I'll get into higher counts of fabric. But I picked out for right now, hands-on design, let's talk spring, because I have, I've made some pretty good progress. I'm just doing this in with DMC on chalkboard linen. And I think it'd be fun to just get some more done. It'd be great. I don't know if I'd get it done completely in the springtime, but I don't know, I might. Be fun to get that framed up. So I'm going to work on that for my animals category. And then for the Fat Quarter Shop category, I've got one that I have just been holding on to, and I typically take it on trips. This one is one that went to, I think this one might have gone to the UK with me a couple years ago when we went to England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Because I'm pretty sure I stitched this in the airport in like Denver. Let me open it up here. But I've always loved this design so much that I even bought the quilt pattern and the quilt kit with it. So, Michelle Ramsey of Quilts Made with Love designed that, and I'm really only this far because I save it for when I'm traveling, and it's not a hard one. It's one that I can do without like thinking or having any hard counting. It's some block stitching, so I think that one will be good for the evenings. This past week, believe it or not, I did not stitch anything. I was so tired from my trip, and it seems like when you have a short week or a week when you've been gone, when you come back to work, there's so much to do. So I was just, I worked longer hours and ended up kind of tired in the evening. So I'm excited after I finish visiting with you guys. I'm going to do some stitching today. We got our taxes done this morning and, you know, kind of taking care of some like chore type things. So anyway, I'm trying to think. Okay, let me look at my notes, make sure I don't have anything else. Oh yes, I do have one other plan for this month. So let me see. I think, is it in this little bag here? I have my little travel bag. And it is a Primrose Cottage free pattern. I've got it in this little strawberry bag that I made with a little strawberry charm. I think that's from maybe Lori Holt. So the free Stitch Friday was lucky. And I cut a piece of fabric off of the fabric that Lily came in, so just a small little piece, and it's ready to stitch. And I have the DMC to go with it. So there's like two kind of gold, a white, and a couple of greens. This is a really dark green. So I thought that one would be a fun one to start. I think this is 32 count platinum linen. So I think if you guys ever want to see what I carry in my bag when I'm traveling, I've got a nice assortment of things with the idea that I might have some free time, which doesn't always happen, but ever since I was a kid, I've always had a little bag with like coloring books and crossword puzzles and, you know, little projects to work on when we traveled, because we traveled by car quite a bit. Oh, and look at this little thing I kind of set to the side. I don't think I showed you this. This is just another button company. One of the little daisy pins, and I picked that up at Primrose Cottage's brick and mortar shop. So there you go. Well, that's a lot. I'm so excited to kind of tuck away some of these purchases. And you know, I've been watching Nicole Spohr, and she's been organizing her patterns in binders with like some sheet protectors, and I think that might be something I need to do for some of the designers. Like, I have a lot of Primrose Cottage. So anyway, I think for spring break we'll be staying home. I think my husband has jury duty kind of scheduled. Who knows if he'll have to show up for it, but he didn't want to have to take vacation days and then lose his vacation days if he had to report. So I think I'll be home quite a bit, and maybe can do some organizing and some stitching, some quilting. So I did make a couple of purchases, not a couple purchases, a couple of items and a purchase at Primrose Cottage of quilting things. So I do have a project that I'm working on, a little runner. So I've got some quilting things. My husband's not back yet from his errand, so I don't know, maybe I'll do a little quilting video here, just a little snippet maybe, because I know some of you guys are quilters, but I think I want to keep those videos kind of separate if it's something that you're not as interested in. So anyway, I hope spring is starting to launch itself into your life right now. It got really warm here this week, and then I went out in a t-shirt to work. We had like a jeans day, and I think it was yesterday, and I went outside to get in my car, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's cold, but the sun was shining so bright, and it was clear skies, and it was snowing between here and Albuquerque, I found out. And so I got really fooled, and I was cold that day. And it's still pretty chilly today, but I think spring is on its way, and I'm pretty excited about it. So you guys have a great weekend. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Happy stitching. Bye.